Welcome to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast, a peek into the minds and strategies of the world's greatest copywriters, marketers, and persuasion experts. And now, here's your host, Brian Casangina.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast. It's a real privilege and honor today to welcome a guest, a very special guest that I've been following for a long time online. And I finally twisted his arm and managed to get him on the show. So I really appreciate you coming on today, Matt. So thanks for coming on. Yeah. So I've been following your work for a long time, and your list is one of the few lists which actually value being on. So let me do a quick rundown of who you are for the listeners who perhaps aren't familiar. Maybe they've been living under a rock or something and they're not quite sure who you are. Because you've been online since 1997. And I was really interested to see you put your first opt-in page up in 2001. So, I mean, that was a long time before I even knew what an opt-in page is. You know, you've done well over 8,000 split tests. You're growing your list by over 10K subscribers a day, which is a lot. And you've had a number one best-selling book, The Ultimate Lead Generation Plan, which sounds awesome as well. But what you really do, and this is what the listeners are really interested in finding out, is about the way you master split testing and short copy as well. But we're all about the split testing because, like I was saying to you the other day, I thought I'd run a few split tests in my time at Mind Valley, but from what you were telling me, and that picture that you showed, the other day, your stack of split tests. Yeah, for anyone listening, he's just got a huge. I might put this up on the website as well because it's just a huge pile of split test results. So I'm really interested in the data side of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, data is my religion. So I mean, it's interesting because I jokingly. It's funny. Well, actually, I do wear the same thing every single day. I got 20 of these shirts, got 20 of the same shorts. I got 20 of the same underwear, 20 of the same socks, and I've got 5 stacks of the same shoes and wear the same hat every day. The reason I do that is because I'd rather make decisions on data than I would make decisions on what I wear. Because data is that important to me. I mean, everything we do, the data doesn't lie. The numbers tell stories because, I could pull stuff out of my butt. I could pull stuff out of my head. But really, at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most is always the data. And so I jokingly tell people data is my religion, because it is. And even right now, it's actually fascinating. I'm running, actually, when we were looking, I'm just running a test at this moment. And just looking at some of the results, it's just fascinating. Always to see what I think will win, won't win, what I think won't win, wins, So it's like, I'm never right, but 80% of the time I'm kind of right, but
you've been around for long enough to have that educated guess, but I'm the same, every time I think something's going to win, it's usually the other thing that wins. And my educated guess, even based on 15 years in the industry, still isn't right all the time. Is that one of the most important reasons why you do split testing?
Well, here's the thing. The reason I do it is because I know small tweaks, small changes win big games. I mean, the difference between it really happened. I can't remember what year it was because before, and I don't know, everybody listening might be a little bit different before, because I'm a marketer. I've been a marketer. I probably been a marketer. I realized, and even in high school, somebody just posted on this. We have this group of all my high school friends, my whole class, and they posted a picture of the newsletter from high school, and it said Matt's favorite. I put my favorite class, marketing, which I didn't realize I loved marketing back then. So but I do, and I've always loved marketing. And the reason I bring that up is because, and say that is, I realized that before when I first started, I thought, hey, my stuff works because I'm Matt Bacak. I believed I was really good at marketing, so my stuff just worked. And that was my position in my mind of, hey, I wrote it, it worked. Or I wrote the copy, it works. And that's true, it does. But what I found is if I just test, it's the difference between, even just a slight change in conversion, even on an opt-in page, the difference between 10% opt-in and a 30% opt-in. Or right now, actually, I was talking to a guy named Igor. I don't know if you know Igor, but he was like, I'm getting an 82% opt-in rate on a page. And he's like, Jesus criminy. And I was like, yeah, because I tested the hell out of it. The difference between me getting, 60% convert, 60% conversion, that's, or even 30% like industry average on opt-in pages. I mean, now I'm getting 82%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a lot more subscribers. And so I'm allowed to, I can squeeze more money, more subscribers and put more money in my bank account just by doing it. And it's, from there. But interesting enough, I will tell you is this, whenever I'm doing testing and just getting into it, just letting people know the reason why I think my testing is so effective. And this is something for everybody. I don't care what, if you're a small business owner, I don't care if you're a copywriter or whatever. What I found works best for me when it just high level testing is testing radically different variations. I always test radically different variations, meaning let's get back to the opt-in page for 1 second, or any page, it doesn't matter, sales letter. In this, because that's where it really started, and then I moved it over to my email marketing. But I always test it radically. I mean, I'm talking radically different page, radically different look and feel, I might get radically different graphic designers. I might have radically different even copywriter sometime. Like I will hire a copywriter to beat me. Like I always tell people, like, guys, like your job is to beat me, and I don't care who wins. I just want to win, So it's radically different look and feel.
It's not like green button versus blue button.
Do it. Yeah. Well, it's even deeper than that. Cause to me, like a lot of copywriters will tell you when it comes to copy, especially on sales letters, they'll say, split test the headline. That's the most important thing. Like, no, that's a slight variation to me. Like to me, it's a total, I might make one really ugly page and I might make one really pretty page, or something, that to me, because when you do slight variations, you're going to get slight variation in results. When you're doing radically different variations, you're getting radically different variations in results. And that's what matters to me. Cause now it's instead of a 0.2% increase, I'm getting a 10% increase or a 30% increase. It changes the whole dynamics of everything. And the same thing holds true with, you could even see, not you, but like this is 8 different split tests on one page, and every one of these are 5 radically different subject lines that I tested. So
something I noticed,
And that's and here's the fascinating thing. And what I found is, it's amazing to me to find that because I don't just track opens, I don't just track clicks, I'm tracking sales. And I'm able to do that with the platform that I use. So I can see the highest open rate subject line is not the highest clicks and is always not the highest conversion, because it's kind of like, if you really think about it, it's like it sets the tone for the email. The first thing they see in the subject line, it sets a tone for the email, and it can get them in a buying frenzy, or it can get them in a looky frenzy, So it changes everything when I'm doing it.
That's really interesting. So how do you pre-sell all the way through, like your landing page, a subject line? How do you link up those different pieces of copy to get a person in a buying frame rather than just engaging?
Well, that's it. So for me, everything to me, now remember, I want everybody to I'm going to put myself in a category. I hate doing that, but I am a marketer, but I'm really an email marketer. So everything to me starts with the email, and then the email actually all starts with the subject line. So all my testing, even right now, I'm looking at the testing. All testing that I do is all based on I do radically different subject lines. Of course, I'm going to I usually put the same email. So I usually test, like, these are 5 variations. So I'm always having 5 different variations. I always doing it in odd. So 5 is the minimum I will do. The one I'm actually running right now is 9, but typically I'll run 5 different variations. Now, once I am testing and tracking, I come in and say, oh my gosh, this subject line is actually, is selling, is getting more people to click, getting more people to buy. So what I'll do, and I use it as, I use it kind of as a way to, now I go back, and the email is the fastest way for me to figure out something. And then, so once I have that, now I'll go back in, and it's kind of the starting source of everything that I do. So now I might transfer that. That subject line actually will tend to become the headline. I'll test it for the headline on the page that I do. And typically, I will say typically, I don't want to give a blanket statement here, but 9 times out of 10, the subject line that's actually converting the most is going to put it on the page will actually help increase the page converting. And a lot of times, if like I'm doing a webinar, for example, I might just change the name of the webinar to be whatever the subject line is, the headline that wants, and just kind of making it all flow from there as I'm testing through.
That makes a lot of sense, because one thing that we found at Mindvalley with an ad to a landing page or an email to a landing page is the title. If the title was consistent, in some way, then the conversions on the end would be higher. So
Oh yeah.
So it sort of stitches them together. It really backs up what you're saying. I mean, we didn't do anything to the scale that you do. You know, which we had done.
Well, can we take that a bit deeper for people to really like this is so if you guys are grasping this, what we're saying right now, I want you to really grasp something else, especially when it comes to email, because that's where I kind of tend to always fall back at. But so here's an interesting thing, and I don't know if you guys discovered this, but what I started discovering through my testing is that if we're, you know, like, yes, the subject line is going to be the first thing that they're going to see, of course. But what we also have is, especially today, people are using Gmail. A lot of people are using Gmail these days. People are using Outlook. People are using, you know, these programs to look at their emails as they're coming in. And in the email now we have the subject line, and then underneath the subject line we have that text preview. And one thing I discovered is if, you know, especially on my winners, now I can't do this when I'm split testing radically different variations. Yeah. I guess there's a way I could possibly do it, but and actually I just figured it out. But anyway, you'd have to
I'll take credit for that then.
But basically, if the subject line relates to if the wording in the subject line is also in the wording in the text preview, then or at least related to the wording. So if I said email copy, and then inside there I said, you know, email copy inside that text preview, so that first line of the email relates to the subject line, I have found that that'll increase it. But let's take it even deeper. And so what I've also discovered through a lot of the testing is not just doing that wins. Now, you and I both know as copywriters, I guess I call myself that. I don't usually call myself that, but as a copywriter, we know that one of the first things people read is the beginning, and then what they scroll all the way down to the bottom of the PS. And so in mine, what I found in emails for me, if I could create the ultimate email for anybody, it would be the subject line matching or mirroring. I call it mirroring. Is mirrored in the text preview, and then also is mirrored down in the PS. Now, so that the PS will kind of match whatever it said there, because what got them to open also gets them to click. But then we could take it even deeper. And one thing that I started discovering is if I'm starting to play around with the actual links inside the email. So let's just use the subject line. I'm looking at one right now, was SEO Omega. That was a winner on something, but let's just use that as an example. I don't even know what it was referring to, but the point is, let's just say that was the winning subject line. So now the text preview says, you know, SEO Omega in it. Now down the bottom, it says something about SEO Omega in that. And then the link that I'm using. Now, if the link I'm using is mydomain.com/SEO Omega, I've found that creates the ultimate email that I'm sending. So having everything, it's mirrored throughout the email. So something to think about if you're sending out an email, you know, if you can mirror as much as you can throughout it. Now, of course, the copy inside there is going to be a little bit different, you know, while they're reading it. But if we had it down at the bottom, and if you can't think of a PS, the best PS to use is mirroring the subject line. If you can't, and also in the link right there, you'll find increase the amount of clicks that it'll create in the email to get people to go to whatever page you're having them go to.
That's really interesting, because something I've been working on, like I started doing this at Mind Valley a bit, and I haven't had that volume of traffic to test on in the last couple of years since I haven't been there. But something I was working on is basically a more basic version of what you just talked us through, where it's a continuity where everything reflects, you know, you mentioned the URL. I never thought of having the URL the same wording, but I wanted to kind of make everything continuous and contiguous, so that people know when they're clicking through and reading that they're in the right place and they're in the same place.
Yeah, and for those of you guys listening, let me just give it to you. Let me say it in a different way, so that really, because this it's not a concept. This truth that we're revealing to you is so important for you to grasp. I want to say it a little bit differently. And so let's just give you an example. If you guys came to America, I mean, I know everybody's from all over the world. So let's say you came to Atlanta and you came to, you know, where I live, and you asked me, hey, where do I get the best pizza in town? Because it's hard down south to find good pizza. So I would say, hey, go to, you know, and I would tell you exactly where to go. Go to Christos. And so there's a Christos right down the road, and I would tell you to go to Christos. Well, you would drive, you know, go to Christos. You might put it in your map, you know, you might put it in the GPS. You drive over there. As you get there, how do you know you're there? You look up, there's a sign that says Christos. You know, if there's a sign that didn't say the same thing, you'd be like, well, it says pizza. Is that really, you know, like now there's a little bit of confusion in the mind. So it removes that confusion in the mind too, and it also puts people, you know, going through.
That's interesting, and it's something that you have a problem with sometimes here in Asia. I'm living in Bangkok at the moment, and you tend to find that streets and businesses can be poorly signposted at times, and it's completely different from the language barrier. That's one thing, but sometimes you'll go to a business and it's hidden away. It's in a little tiny door, and the sign is tiny and poorly written. That they don't have the marking down pat as the West do, and you can struggle to find things which are right under your nose. So it's true to life.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring it in perspective for people to realize that, it's so important. Everywhere else we go, like apply it to your marketing, apply it to your, what you're doing. I mean, because if not, because we all know, one of the rules is, confused mind never buys. A confused mind doesn't move forward. So it's like, they might just drive off. Like, look, I couldn't find it. I'm going to go somewhere else. On the way, I spotted something else, and they're going to be going away. So we don't want that to happen.
So let me ask you this, just to change tack slightly. Where you get your email list from is very important as well. And I know you've done a lot of stuff with landing pages. You're mainly focused on email, but where that list comes from is so crucial. And we were speaking about buying mode versus just mere engagement. So I heard many years ago, and I don't know if this was from Trevor Crook or not, but that your email list could only be got on if they actually bought something for you. Is that the case, or do you generate free leads?
So I do for other people. Now I generate tons of leads for other people. But if anybody wants to get now, depending on what market and niche. So I don't just operate in the internet marketing niche. So I'm in multiple different niches. In other niches, I do, get on those lists for free because the core backbone of everything that we're doing and everything has to do with email. But when it comes to, learning email marketing from me, you have to opt in with your credit card. There's no other way to get in for anybody to do it. So, and what I did was, a long time ago, there was this thing everybody used to talk about. It's called, the free line. People would, and anybody, you're not familiar with it, listening, just let you know, the free line was, hey, something you would actually sell, you give for free. And, it kind of creates this good rapport with somebody. I kind of reversed the free line. I'm like, what, screw that. If you want this, you got to opt in with your credit card. And what that allows me to do is I'm able to look at the data even better because I can actually identify how good that traffic source is based upon what credit card somebody's using. For example, if I get a lot of Visa and MasterCards that are coming through whatever traffic source I'm using at that moment, I know that the quality of the people aren't going to be that good. If I see a lot of American Express coming through, then I know that I've got a really solid traffic source, but not just a solid traffic source. I know that they're going to be buying more of my upsells. I know that they're going to be investing more with me in that. So I'm analyzing and looking at that. Discover is kind of more of a neutral, but then I can actually look and say, oh, this is how well this traffic source is, because I'm able to figure out as people vote, opt in with a credit card, they're also voting for my products with their credit cards. Cause I actually kind of look at it like money is the vote, right? So as I'm looking at that, now I can identify things because this allows me to know, hey, do I got bigger buyers? Because one thing, just when it comes down to it, American Express buyers are the best buyers in the world. In fact, when somebody goes, I have an online, an online thing on Facebook or a group, and on that group, there's one question I ask people, I was like, do you have an American Express card? People were like, why are you asking this? I was like, I want to know, because I do know, I want to know the answer, because that tells me how, where people are coming from, but not only where people are coming from, the quality of the people that are coming in. Because it's that important in everything that I'm doing. In fact, when it comes to seminars, if I go in and look at my seminar registrations, I go in and I analyze what credit cards, that are coming through. I can actually almost predict the upsells that are going to happen there at the event based upon that.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're using that card type as an analysis point as well as price point and average card value and things like that?
Yeah. Well, there's a mirror. To me, it's mirrors. It's kind of mirrors. But if you see a lot of American Express, those are going to be the best buyers. The ones that are buying the upsells, the OTOs, whether they pull it out of their pocket or not, but the ones, so it's interesting. Years ago, I used to speak a lot at seminars, and the first thing I would do is like, hey, how many people, I pull out my American Express, how many people have an American Express card? Raise your hand. And I'm like, we're part of a special family. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take you guys all to dinner today. And then tomorrow, I didn't tell them, but then tomorrow we'll talk about something I got. And the whole time when I'm there, I'm just, taking care of them because we're part of a special, family. And I buy them all steaks. But it was interesting because of those, those are the ones that are going to be, those are the ones that are the most likely, because here's the reason: American Express isn't given out to everybody, and it's not given out to everybody. And plus, there's certain, you got to pay it off, and some people have different ones. But like, hey, if you got a black card, come on, you're done. Go for it.
Yeah, so that's really interesting, and that's based on all the testing that you've been doing. That customer is a better customer. Yeah, they're going to be a better customer. They're going to be most likely to buy the upsells. If you said to me, hey, take my list and take your list and run, but you can only take a segment, I would go in, sort, American Express buyers, run. Like that would be the list I would take with me, because I can build back millions again instantly off of that group. As long as you're providing value. Don't be a turd about this, but you gotta be offering something and doing it. I haven't been in this industry for 20 something years. If it wasn't, True.
There's a lot of one-hit wonders in this world.
Interesting. This is something that I've been looking at doing myself, because as a working copywriter, I'm mainly doing everything for everyone else and hardly ever for myself. But I want to start doing that now. And I've been looking at low-priced offers to get people in the door, just to get them to opt in with their credit card. And this is based on what I heard about you years ago. And I haven't. I'm just starting out on that process because I've been too busy working for everyone else. But that's kind of why I'm starting to do that. So, but I didn't know that. It makes sense, but I didn't think about the Amex part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's big, but also the other thing is, you think about it. I don't care if somebody spends $1. They're a buyer, and the buyer mindset's a lot better, than anything else. And in fact, we're taking people right now. I got people that are coming in at $7, $5, even $1, and they're going out and buying $1,000 products from us. And then they're up. Those people, are going and then coming to a higher ticket. But the ones that kind of rise to the top, typically are that, especially, and let me be clear, I don't sell hope. So if I'm selling hope, your Visa and your MasterCards, okay, great. They're going to be chasing hope. I'm not selling hope. I'm selling results. So I said, I don't play in the biz op world. In the biz op world, that's, dark world. I'm not that kind of, I don't play in that world anymore. So at that level, it's kind of different.
Yeah, there's big money in that world, but you gotta
sleep at night.
I like the way you do it. Get to sleep at night.
Sleep well.
Yeah, true. So once they've come in as a customer to your lists, how do you go about treating that person? Do you get them to consume what they've bought, or are you upselling them different stuff, or do you provide them a lot of content?
Depends on what level. So my whole intention for everything is getting people to. I have a thing called the EPC in this world. So we're talking this world, but is getting people into the EPC Institute. At the EPC Institute, we have everything. There is one's $1,500. We got a $2,000 product. Everybody that invests in those and everything that I'm doing. Is the number one goal is outcomes. It's not just about consuming. It's about creating outcome for people.
Sure.
In fact, I don't know if you get, for those people listening, when it comes to higher education, only 4% of the people going through higher education are actually completing courses. And that to me, when I hear that, is so wrong. I hate it, but it's a reality. And in fact, Digital Marketer came out and they announced, I think they hit 30%. Or I think it was maybe 28 or 38% completion rates, which was highest the industry's ever seen.
Yeah, Mindvalley, something like that too.
And so what we did was I found out who they used, and we ended up creating. That's why I created the EPC Institute was created based on that. I took the same guy, we built ours, and actually we just hit last month. We hit 58% completion rates.
Wow.
And the reason is because our thing is we create outcomes as soon as people log in. Our goal is, our number one goal in life is, one, it's, to me, it's like, this is the greatest product I ever created. So I want to get as many people to consume as much as possible. We're holding them accountable. We got a built-in accountability. It's, hey, if a lot of us, we go through stuff and, the doorbell rings and we run and we forget where we left off and then we get caught up. So we know that, like, we know exactly where people are at. We're contacting them and, getting them to go through to complete the program, and what's fascinating for us, because of the experience that people are receiving, coming through our program or at the EPC Institute, we have, of the 58% completion, 80% of those people, they're writing in without solicitation saying, thank you very much, it's a great product, or going in and posting on the internet that they just completed the course. It is awesome. And like, it's becoming very viral because of they're creating outcomes for themselves. They're, it's, outside of it, it's really good, but I'm not selling it. I'm just telling you, like, when you stand behind something, you got to get them to consume. You've got to get people to create outcomes. Like, if people aren't creating outcomes, then what good is it? So, and inside their life, whether it's, somebody buys, I don't care if we're selling health products, like, if they're not consuming, one thing is consuming it, but two is actually getting outcomes from it. So, when you do that and people create outcomes for that, what happens is they're more likely to buy whatever else we have. In fact, when we released our newest program, it was crazy. Like, we actually it took us a year to do, we pretty much did in 1 month because of people realized. And actually, the number one comment I had is, Matt, if this is as good as the first one, then I'm on. And I was like, and I said to them, folks, this is even better. It's like, because I'm smarter, I know more, and plus when I built this from a different perspective. I said, and I told them the truth. I was like, I didn't just build this for you. I actually built this for my kids. I was sitting around the table and I rearranged everything with my curriculum design team. And I said to everybody on my team, I said, guys, you know what? I want to change it. I said, I was looking at my kids and I said, if there's one thing I could distill in my children, and it was about copy, because I just came out with a short email copy course. Yeah. And I said, if there's one thing I could distill in my children, it's this. I want them to understand the power of copy. Copy is, having that is, I think I saw you write on your Facebook page something about the highest paid skill in the world. It's the most valuable thing in the world to me. It is, without having that possession, and it's the one thing. In fact, it's so important. And we have some common friends, and like Ted Nicholas years ago was at one of his seminars, and he gave us these magic words, and I always put them next to my computer. I put them on my wall, and I was like trying to get them to become part of me. Like every time I spoke the words, I wanted to see if I can apply those words that he gave us, because he said, these words will make you rich. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this. And then, in fact, it was so important that, and I knew how powerful it was for me, growing my business and using them, that with my children, when they're growing up, and now I got one off college, but then I have one 11 and one 13, turning 12, and then 13. When they were little, I wrote a story, and I used to read them every night in front of the bed. And inside there, I was talking about this guy they met, or this guy that went from here to here, and then it was like they learned these magical words. And so, like, I distilled those words in them. So and what's even fascinating is you can take my children. And let's say, like, right now my kids are playing with their friends. So, let's say we had 20 kids, because we live in a crazy, awesome neighborhood with a bunch of kids for my kids to play. So, like, let's say there's 20 kids standing here in front of us right now. And I said, and I go to my kids, I was like, kids, what's the magic word? And, if they wanted something, and all the kids would say, please. And except for my kids. And my kids would look at me and says, Dad, it's because. And I'm like, exactly. And I was like, you can get anything you want. The true magic word in this world is because. And, and it's funny because and I just used it without trying to use it. But it is truly fascinating. I don't know if anybody read, some of the books and the power of giving people a reason for something. Like, and so my kids will literally get so much, like they're like born salespeople. Like, they'll talk to my parents, and it's funny. My parents do not know my kids are using, because it's natural for them. They're not doing it intentionally. They'll be like, Grandma, can we go swimming, because I saw a kid that I wanted to meet? And like, oh, sure. But if they go, Grandma, can we go swimming? They're like, my mom will be like, no, but they're like, well, Grandma, because there's a kid I saw. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're off to the thing. And the kids have seen the power in and being able to use certain words in their life that has, gotten the results that they want. It's amazing.
That's a huge thing that's going to be throughout their life. They just know that they need to frame whatever they're asking for in that way. Provide that reason why copy and then and not like you said to the parents, that no one knows that they're actually deliberately using it. So
well, they're actually not. That's what the cool thing is. So instilled and ingrained in them that they do it naturally now. And that's where the power is. I think that the power is, and for everybody. I mean,
every time I've had a piece of copy or an email campaign that hasn't worked, you go back and look at the problem. It's because you haven't provided a reason why, a reason why you're contacting someone, a reason why you're asking for a sale, a reason why you're sending out this campaign. So that's always the reason at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I think for everybody listening too, getting on the idea of reasons, like I don't care if you're a small business owner or anything else, think about what we just said. I just want to put that in your mind of think about what we just said about the idea of reasons. Like, it can get my kids to go, sell my grandparents or sell anybody on whatever they want, but it also can get you to sell anything. So there's all these different reasons. One of the easiest reasons for anybody to contact, communicate, and to make sales is, I believe, is through holidays. And so if you don't have, maybe let's say you have a marketing promotional calendar, and if you don't, you should get one, create one. I like to usually make mine about 3 months in 3 months, because things can change after 3 months. But my point is look at all the holidays that are coming up. Those are great reasons. And I don't care if it's a holiday that's like everybody knows about. Like in America, we have Thanksgiving, we have, Christmas, we have this, we have that. In every country might have different holidays. There's Boxing Day in UK, and so there's those reasons, but there's also crazy reasons, like today's pizza day. As I'm eating this pizza, I was thinking, like blah blah blah. So there's always reasons why that you can use. And there's crazy holidays that are created out there that always we can use. You could use as reasons.
Yeah, there's a guy, I don't know if he still does this, Troy White, who used to produce a marketing calendar every year. Maybe he still does that, but you can get these calendars where every day's got like the holiday of that day, or that somewhere in the world, this is like pizza day somewhere in the world. So you have every day at least one holiday or special occasion that you can use as an angle in your email.
Like Saturday, this last Saturday was Friday. So it's like, and actually I saw the burger joint that we're at. It's like, today is National Friday for French fries. So therefore you can get a free, fries. Yeah. And I was like, that is brilliant, Yeah. And I didn't see any other place doing it, but like thinking about how you can apply that, because people are looking for reasons, and that'll pull people more into you.
So you've got your list and your customers from the right place. You're using good copy. How do you approach creating good offers and pitching those offers to that list in a way that they'll be receptive to that? Do you have like any guidelines or principles for that?
So interesting enough. So whenever I'm writing anything, like selling something or thinking of an offer, the number one biggest thing I do is what I'm doing right now, because I just have to do it naturally. And I grab my wallet. I swear to God, I go in, I grab one card, my American Express card, and I set it on my computer.
Best one. Yeah.
And I set it on my computer and I stare at it. Now, I ask myself the question, as I'm looking at it right now, I'm really doing it. Like, I ask myself the question, what do I want to offer them, but what will it take to get them to buy this? So there's like what I want them to have, but also what they want. So, and so I'm always staring at that. Whenever I'm crafting the offers, I come from that place. And then I always start with the order. So it's like, okay, so if I get somebody to whip out the credit card, what will they need? They need the order form. So the first thing I do, and I don't, Actually, I have them right here in my bag. So this is funny. I don't leave home without an order form. So I have my order form right here. So then what I do is I start drawing out on an enrollment form or an investment form or order form. Once I start drawing out, here's what it would take for get them to fill out this order form. And so then after I work on that, then I go back in and start working on whatever copy I'm going to. But I always my number one biggest thing is like, what's, that's the outcome that I want to create, but how am I going to create that outcome? So it'll take this, this, and this, and this. And then I also ask myself, well, if they get all this, I want to, and one of the greatest bonuses, I always ask myself this because I always like to give bonuses. And when I give bonuses, one of the bonuses that I like to do is something that proves that it actually works, because it does, right? It has to work in order to make it happen. But so give you an example. This is, so do you know Johan? Do you know Johan Mock?
I know of him, yeah.
Okay, so Johan and I are really close friends. He's like one of my best friends. Like, I mean, so he's a big copywriter in Asia. He really does. He doesn't. Nobody can hire him anymore, but he writes copy. I've been writing copy forever. And we became really close friends. And I bring that up because Johan, and I'm gonna give you guys like an example that's hilarious. And so, pardon me, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but this is so good. So he used to sell these things called hot rod pills. This is before like a Viagra got really big. Yeah. And so he created the hot rod pills. I think he was making like $400,000 a month on selling these hot rod pills. But here's the secret. So, one of the secrets. So when you went to the page and you like all of a sudden, you want to get these hot rods because the thing's not working anymore. And so anyway, you go to the page. And so when you go there, you click on the order form. The order form pops up, and it's like, okay, if you buy one, it's this price. However, you buy 10, you buy 10, we'll give you the bonus of, this is hot rod pill, so give you a bonus of penis cream, because you're going to get sore. And then after you do that, now if you buy 50 of these, if you buy 50 bottles, we're not just going to give you, cream for him. We're going to give cream for her because she's going to need it too. Like, so my point is like, it just says you have an element of proof in the, in the bonus itself. Without even doing it, like, this stuff works so good, you're going to need this. So we're going to give it to you as a bonus. So my point is, think about how you can apply that to yours. And that's what I'm always doing. Is like, how can I create, prove that this works without saying, without saying that in that. So I'm always thinking about that. So, if, for example, just giving, that's probably the best example I could give. But, and people get that is like, how do you say, well, when this works, you're going to need this. So therefore you have this too.
And you're saying when it works, not if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's amazing. I've never even considered like that angle before. So I'm gonna cut this call short right now, and I'm gonna change it
and go write it, because it'll make you tons of money. I swear to God, that right there, because if you think about that, as copywriters, we know what are we gonna have? The best thing we could ever do, ever create, if we want to really sell something, outside of copy is, well, you would use verbal copy, but but creating demonstrations are the best thing you can ever do, right? Demonstrations sell. And that's why here in the United States, if you're watching infomercials late at night, it's demonstrations. Demonstrations are like the fastest way to sell anything. But if we want to sell things without demonstrations, then we got to have, because demonstrations create an element of proof. It really proves it as much as you can humanly possibly.
Yeah, you probably can't sell the hot rod pills on an infomercial.
Yeah, you might get a little trouble with that one. But yeah, the proof would be crazy. But my point is for everybody is like, we want to create proof. The more that people, because the number one biggest question is, what if this doesn't work? We got to overcome that proof. And so, utilizing it in the offer, not just in the copy, because, we proved it, because that's, to me, the key is that one offer. And so, and then from there, what I always do is, so I'm creating, I create the order form the way I talked about it, creating the order form, creating the offer. Now, once I have that, now I'm going right in the copy. And in the copy, I actually act as a detective. So it's like, how do I prove all this stuff, when I'm doing it? But then when I go back to the emails, so, when I'm creating the emails, this is where, this is just me, and people can probably disagree with me all over the place, but because they're taught differently. But this is what I believe is true from what I've seen is my emails are actually segments of the copy on the sales letter. We were talking about the congruency all the way across. I am literally going in and I'm going, because to me, what did I spend the most time on outside of the offer? What did I just spend the most time on? I spent the most time on the headline. So what would be the best subject line for me to use? Probably the headline. Well, actually, let me actually take that back a step. As a cop, for me, the first thing I actually spent the most energy on and time on is the name of the product. So because of that, if I had a go-to on a new product that I'm releasing, if I had a go-to subject line that I would use, that would be name of product is live, because I spent so much thought and energy in the name of the product. The next thing I would probably spend, the next subject line might be the headline, because I spent so much time and energy thinking about that. And then, from there, but where I'm getting the copy is right from the copy that was already written. All the energy is already put into it, and now I'm going in and now I'm sending emails based upon the copy. So it is congruent. It is, it is mirroring pretty much what was said. And the one thing, there's no like, what, like for me, because when I'm using short email copy, so I'm not writing long stories or anything. I'm just, I want to make it as relatable. When they go there, like, oh, this is exactly. Or if I pull the copy somewhere out of the middle or somewhere out of the end, I want them they're kind of searching for it. It's kind of like the Zeigarnik effect in a sense, but it's like, they're searching for it. It's like, oh, he said this, everything seems right, but where is it? Oh, there it is. This is exactly, it's in the copy, and it just, I have it. So now they actually believe what he says is true.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because when people are trying to reinvent the wheel, they're writing emails, they're trying to write a whole new sales pitch to go in their emails when they've already got one on the sales page.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
And then of course, I get back to the split testing, and then it just turns into a new chain, because that might change it. That might change some of the elements. Like I might find that, like I might actually use the offer, and I might actually put, I've done this before. It's like I kind of came up with, like I said, I'm going to give them 5 secrets inside there. I might change it to 7 and go add them in the product, or add them in the thing if I can, if 7 won in my testing. So it also it's a good starting point, but I want to find out what's really resonating with my list, getting back to the testing, and make it kind of feel like when they go there, it's like, man, you just read my mind. Like, this is what I wanted, to make things happen.
So what kind of tools should people use when they start doing split testing? I know that you've got some, and there's some third-party tools as well. Yeah,
I mean, from an email perspective, unfortunately, there's not many out there. There is. Okay, let me just restate my.
There's some, yeah.
There is stuff out there. Unfortunately, it's so counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. It's hard to do, and that's why nobody's doing it, right? I was on copywriter a call with Bill Glazer and his daughter Mira, or Myra, or whatever. We were on the call, Mara, and so I have a friend named Mira, so I just thought her. But Bill and I were on the call, and I was kind of talking about this, and I think he asked his daughter, why aren't we testing more? Because I was showing him my test. And she goes, because it's so hard. Like, what we're using, you can't really do it. And I've been on boards, in part of groups, and telling people, like, here's how to do it, make it easy. It's really hard for a lot of places. I will tell you, if there's really only 2 places that I found from an email perspective to that they're the easiest to use to really figure it out. One is GetResponse. GetResponse, that's why actually all of these are actually 5 radical variations, because GetResponse only allows me to test 5, but it's so easy to test over there. It's easier than anything I've seen. And then the second thing is, well, of course, for somebody that's not happy with what I'm seeing, I created my own. So it's based on that, and we just released it to the public not too long ago. It's called Send Eagle, but I'm not here to sell you guys on that. But the cool thing is, what we did was we took all my testing and we put it in there, and so we made it so intuitive that, I mean, I'm running. That's why I'm running today. When I said I'm running 9 today, but the stuff I was showing, if you saw the thing, those are 5, because a couple of months ago I just moved over, and now I'm able to test more variations because I'm not restricted by that, and from it, and so
so you're like you're searching for other platforms to help you do the split testing, where most people are happy if they're doing one split test with 2 different subject lines. You're just you're just like the mad scientist of split testing. You can't get enough. You want to split test this and this and that.
Well, and the reason I can't get enough, I will tell you, the day, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy named Joe Lavery, but Joe was he used to work out of my office years ago. I used to call him the testing freak. And we were doing this launch. I brought in 14,987 rebilling customers at $30 a month in this promotion. And we did a 7-day window, and we did 32 different variations. He was testing the page. And the difference between me making, if you do the math, I mean, 15,000 people, let's just say, times $30 a month. It's a lot of money. But if you do, we had that thing down to it was like at 6-9% when we started. And then we got it up to 25%. The difference in my rebills, the difference in my monthly income radically changed because of it. So I was like, holy crap, like why? And I look backwards. Once you do it, and I'm just gonna say, once somebody does it and you realize looking backwards how much money you lost, I was like, oh my God, I lost millions of dollars went to my hand just by spending a few extra minutes. And it's just, it might take a few hours to start figuring it out and get in the routine, but it's a few extra minutes a day. Ads, I will, because of split testing, just on emails, I double the amount of double the amount of money I make every single day. And so it doubles the amount of money I make because of it. If I went with what somebody gave me, if I went with this, like I want to test it because like the big thing is like I was saying, it's kind of like it allows me to read read the palms of the hands of my subscribers and make them think that I'm some kind of like psychic or, divine clairvoyant, when they're doing it. It's like, it's able to me to really, talk to them and understand. It also, for me, what it does, it removes the uncertainty. I don't know if it's going to work in my marketing campaign. It eliminates all the guesswork, from that. But also what it lets me do, it allows me to learn. Like I become like kind of this, I'm a learning machine. So it allows me to learn how my customers actually respond. It allows me to, then how I think they respond. And it also allows me to get unexpected insights so I can create better and more effective copy while I'm doing it, because, what I think is true isn't always true. And what they respond to, it's like, whoa, I need to pound this point in more because this really resonated, with the people that I had.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the things which that's why I wanted to come back to Send Eagle, because I'm using different autoresponders when I work with clients. Some I just give it a copy on docs, and some I do send out the emails. Like I'm working with someone right now who is using Entreport, and we've just found that you can split test an automated sequence subject line, but you can't split test the subject line of a broadcast. So that's a big
and that's the most important. I mean, I will tell you, I'm sorry, but just so everybody knows. So if you think about this, we have two different sections we're talking about. For those people who aren't really as familiar in the terms as we are, is you have the broadcast where we're sending out to everybody, and we have the sequence, which is automatically people are getting automatically.
Yeah, that's your funnel. Yeah.
So to me, the way that I create my sequences it's kind of like I was a boxer. I don't look like it now, but I used to be a Gold Glove champ. I was 33 in the nation in boxing. But the reason I bring that up is because it's kind of like my left. My left, all it does is just figure out my distance so I can land my right. So that's how testing is to me. So when I'm testing, I'm just throwing my jab out there just to figure out how far I am from it so I can land my right. But once I land my right, meaning I found my winner, now I take those emails, the winners for my broadcast, and bring them in to my sequence and put them in there. Because to me, like, why would I put an email in the front of my sequence? It doesn't work really well. It doesn't make sense to me. And this brings up a very important point for everybody listening. If you want to make 320% more revenue on anything that you're doing when it comes to email, this is where most people make the biggest mistake. Your welcome messages or triggered messages that are triggered by individuals are the number one most read, the most highest open rate emails that you're ever going to send. So when we're sending a broadcast out, we got to do whatever we possibly can to get people's attention. But when we're sending a triggered sequence that somebody opts in to get the email, or when somebody resets a password, somebody does something to trigger a sequence, they're they're expecting that, they're searching for that, they're looking for that. So it's going to have the highest, the highest response rates. It's going to have the highest response rates. But when we're sending a broadcast out, what we have to do is, our job is to get their attention. We've got to get their attention. We got to get them reading. We got to get them clicking. But and the reason I bring that up is, and I threw out a number of 320%. And let me throw this out to you guys, because this was a writer down. If you didn't write anything down during this thing, write this one down. And especially with opt-in pages, or if you've got a newsletter, or somebody's opting in, signing up. That first message that you send somebody, the biggest mistake everybody makes out there is that welcome message sent to people that you should put thought into, and you should really think about, because the welcome message it counts for 320% more revenue. More revenue is created by that welcome message than anything else. It's the one message that you're going to find. I actually have over the last 20 years, but since I've been collecting data, It is the one message that is read the most. It's the one message they click on. So if you don't put an opportunity to sell something, you're missing out. So let's say, I'll just give you guys an example. Let's say you have a newsletter. You created an opt-in page. Today they call them lead magnets. Over the years, but let's say you have one of those pages. Somebody opts in and signs up. The first thing they're going to do is look for whatever you promised them and give them whatever you promised. If you're not, you're a turd. But in there, at least put in the PS, people who downloaded this also purchased this, or that one little line right there, which I stole from Amazon, but that one little line right there will make you 320% more revenue. And because they are looking for that email, you're giving what you're giving them, and now you're giving them an opportunity to do something. But what also that does for your list, if you're doing that, and for your email list, that also tells them that, hey, you're not just on here to be a looky-loo. You're not just on here to be a tire kicker or a plate licker. You're on here because I'm going to give you a lot of value, but I'm also going to offer you stuff. I'm not doing this for free. So you're training them initially by doing that. And you can just do it with the PS. It's fine. Like if you don't want to be more aggressive than that, that's perfect. But just the PS, just sliding it in there, you'll find that you're going to make tons more money in that. And then the follow-up sequence after that could be the thing that you mentioned in the thing.
And I found exactly the same thing with that first email that is triggered in the sequence. And I mostly do funnels where they're pretty forward with the stuff that they're selling. They show a one-time offer, and then that first email is often a reminder of that one-time offer, or a special offer. You can't really call it a one-time offer if it's not one time. But that first email accounts for 80% or more across the board of all the emails in the sequence, even if you have it for a week or two in length. So that's the most important one. Highest open rate, highest click-through rate, and highest revenue per lead.
Yeah. And what's fascinating is so many people focus on the end of the sequence. They put so much energy and think about the whole entire sequence, when I think the most energy should be on that right there, and then work your way backwards. Because for me, when it comes to testing, when it comes to anything, I always go in the flow of the traffic. So what's the flow of the traffic, whatever the traffic source is? I always test that way. So the first thing I test, with me, I'm sending emails, I test the email. Then after I test the email, and I got the email, the next thing I test is the page they're landing on. After I test the page they're landing on, and then I test next thing. Because if I don't get them through, they're never going to see it anyway. So, it's like some people spend all their energy focusing on the end, when it's like they're never going to get there if you don't get them there. Yeah,
true. So is there anything else that you want? So we're kind of running out of time here, but anything else to add? But I just wanted to bring up a few things that we have here. You mentioned, I keep thinking of SendLane. It's Send Eagle is your one. That looks awesome. The EPC Institute is one of the things, the offers that you have as well. That's great. The URL for that. What's the best way for a person to find out more about you? That's probably better, because I will tell you guys, for those of you guys know, when you go there, sometimes I run specials, and there's a place where you can go and find the special. So if you want deals, if you want to steal a deal, sometimes I give out coupons. Sometimes I do, special webinars and things like that to a special group. And I'll tell you guys, is the easiest way, or the easiest thing, if you're on Facebook, is I have a secret group, and it's actually called the List Building Club. And inside there, we talk about email marketing. It's anybody that has anything to do with email marketing, list building, that's the conversations in there. And it's actually, if you go there, it'll be Matt Bacak's List Building Club, but I believe it's facebook.com/list building club. Like we actually, I'll put the URL on the website as well, Geniuses of Copywriting website.
Yeah, perfect.
But so if you search on Facebook for Matt Bacak's List Building Club, it'll be the first result. Yeah. Okay,
good, because it's private. I have to approve you to get in. So, but it's marked as private. But yeah, you guys should be good then.
Yeah. I think, and I'm sure you can search for it. As long as you can search for it, you won't be able to see what's inside the group. That's for approved members only. But that's the best place to start to learn more from you. Which I hope I'm in that group, because if not, you can expect my application too.
Yeah,
but there's sendeagle.com, the EPC Institute, all sorts of stuff like that, which are incredible resources that Matt provides. And if you're really serious about this, unless you're too late in listening to this podcast, you'll come see Matt speak at the event in Europe in the end of August. So we just found out that Matt's speaking there. I'm really looking forward to your presentation. So hopefully that comes around quickly. I can't wait for that. But the best thing for most people listening to this, go search for what was it, Matt Bacak's list building group.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one. On geniusofcopywriting.com, I'll put the full URL so you can click through to that, apply to join the group, and go from there. So I really appreciate you spending the time with us. As with all of these episodes, I've learned something myself. Got plenty of notes written here, so I've got some more homework to do. So thanks for coming on. You are a genius of copywriting.
Thank you very much. It was an honor to be here. Seriously, I appreciate it.
No problem. I will see you in Europe, and thanks again.
Thank you.
See ya.
Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to Geniuses of Copywriting with Brian Casangina. To get the full transcript and all the resources mentioned on today's show, go to www.geniusesofcopywriting.com now.